And we got there and the place was packed. And we played and people knew the words to our songs. And we were like, this is super weird. Nobody knows the words to our songs. Not at home, not anywhere else. I forget the words to our songs. Everyone here knows the words to our songs.
Hello, welcome to 3 Gigs, the podcast that tells the stories of 3 shows that have had a profound effect on a performer's life and career. Their very first show, their best show, and their worst show. I'm your host, Dominic Davy, and today our guest is Sal Ellington from Rebuilder. This episode is brought to you by Fresh Clean Tees. It's like a shave club, but they offer the most awesome t-shirts you're ever going to wear. Seriously, they look amazing and they feel even better. I love mine. To save 20% off your first shipment, go to freshcleantees.com and enter the coupon code GIG at the checkout. That's freshcleantees.com and use the offer code GIG. Starting out of Boston, Massachusetts, in 2013, Rebuilder came out of the gate debuting at a bar, playing to absolutely no one. But their second show was opening for the Dropkick Murphys to a sold-out crowd, and since then they've been tirelessly traveling up and down both coasts of the United States and throughout the Midwest. With their newest release on Panic State Records, Sounds from the Massachusetts Turnpike, hitting stores last September, they've been going full on ever since in support of it. This is a band you want to keep an eye on. Vocalist-guitarist Sal Ellington took some time to speak with me about some of his adventures, which was great because I actually spoke to his brother Diego from Ramona on episode 22. So for me, this is my first set of siblings on the show. I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, we had a great conversation. Sal's a great guy, and we even figured out that we have actually met each other before. But all of that starts, as always, with his very first show ever.
It's funny because there's like a number of them that like come to mind, and every single time where I played like live in front of people, it was always like some dumb like school talent show thing that I don't really count because it doesn't feel like a real show. Mm-hmm. But the one thing there's like every time I think back to like, all right, like what was like really the first show? There's like one show in particular that sticks out in my mind. So I'll give you that story because I think that's probably the most significant to me. But so I grew up playing drums, and throughout like middle school and like high school, all I really wanted to do was like be in a band. And it wasn't till probably the later end of high school where I finally got to have a band. And that band, we had like a stupid name. We were called the Knockout Kings. And I think just because we couldn't think of a band name, and it was a video game at the time, and we were like, we practiced in the basement and that video game was around. And I think we were recording like some demos a week later, and we were like, we need a name. I was like, let's just call it this, which is like super stupid. And I remember that we did, I think, like 1 or 2 shows, and our singer, it was like summertime, and our singer said that we got offered a show at Pearl Street in Western Mass with this band, the Spitvalves, who were friends of mine from Florida. And I really wanted to play the show, except for our singer was like, yeah, I'm going to be like on vacation with my girlfriend, and I'm not going to be able to do that show. And I instantly was like, well, we have to do this show. Like, for me, it was always like, I wanted to be in a band so bad. I really wanted to play. I was like, I want to play this show. And I feel like we hadn't really had like even much of a demo yet or anything that we put out to the world. So no one really knew who we were and knew our songs. So my best friend, Jason, who played guitar in the band, I was like, hey, I really want to play this show. I have this crazy idea. And I was like, all right. I was like, what if I sing and I don't play drums? We'll get someone to play drums for us. And he was like, no, that's not going to work, man. Like, you're not a singer. Like, you play drums in this band. I was like, I understand. But I really, really think that, like, this would be a good show for us. If, like, our singer doesn't want to be there because he wants to go to, like, the Cape on vacation with his girlfriend and fuck him, like, I'll sing. So I don't know how I was able to convince him, but I eventually was like, look, let's have a practice. I asked my friend Brian, who I went to high school with, I was like, he's going to come play drums and we'll do a practice. I honestly can't. Oh, this kid Greg played bass in the band. And so I told everyone, and they were like, cool, yeah, like, let's do a practice. And we did a practice, and after a couple of songs, my friend Brian, who was a drummer, he walked out and was like, dude, I will never be in this band because your guitar player is, like, such an asshole. And I was like, which Jason is one of those dudes who's like, he was like super loud mouth. He's really, really funny, but like some people just thought he was obnoxious. And like, I mean, even the first, like, there's a whole backstory of like the first time I met him, and he was obnoxious the first time I met him, but we ended up being really good friends. I totally got it, and I was like, no, dude, please, like, play this show, you know. And he was like, no fucking way. And I was able to like convince him to come back at another date and have a practice. I don't know how, but he did. He came back and he practiced. We worked through some songs, and we played that show. Like, I think we even borrowed somebody's van, and that was the first time that we felt like we were like, I felt like we were a band. Like, we put gear into a van, drove up early to the show, like, loaded in. I think I don't even think we were first, which was amazing. I think that we were like right before Spit House, and there wasn't even a lot of people there. I think there was maybe like 20 people, and we played, and I had just watched, like, you know, like Angela Moore of Fishbone, I think, is like the ultimate front man, or like Jay from Suicide Machines. And
yeah, those guys are great.
Was like, yeah, and I was like, that's how you're a front man. I remember I grabbed that mic. I had rewrote all the lyrics for the songs because I didn't really know what our singer was singing anyway. But we did the show. You know, I didn't know, so I was like, I had all the demos with no lyrics. I just rewrote everything, and we played, and I just kind of like, you know, just went into like frontman mode, and it felt awesome to me. And that was like, I felt like that was like the first time like that we actually played a show. And I remember afterwards, I like talked to everyone. I was like, we should just keep the band this way. Like, it's obvious that this kid Andrew, who had singing with us, is, you know, if he's going off on vacation with his girlfriend, like, he doesn't, you know, he's not taking this seriously. Like, we should absolutely like keep it this way. And everyone was like, yeah, I mean, this worked, and that was a lot of fun, so let's keep it that way. And then we had to tell our singer that we were gonna stay that way, and he was gone for, I think, pretty much the whole summer. I even feel like we did a couple more shows with that lineup. And when he came back, the day that we were supposed to have practice, we were just like, hey man, we're gonna skip practice. We're just gonna all go down to Papagino's and get some pizza and hang out, and because that's where we're gonna tell him. But for some reason in our head, we figured like, well, if we bring him to like Papagino's and get him pizza, like at least he's getting free pizza, and we'll all have just a good time. It won't be like super awkward, which was completely wrong. We got.
I was about to say, that sounds a little naive. I don't know.
Yeah. We were fucking young and stupid, and we get there, and like me and my friend Jason were really like the ones who were like spearheading the band, and our friend Greg, who was playing bass, was really just like this quiet dude, like football jock kid, for some reason wanted to be in our band, and just kind of like showed up, did his thing, hung out with us, like didn't say much. So he really didn't even care. Like whatever decision we wanted to do, he was like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. And I remember we like got pizza, we sat down, and this kid Andrew was like, right off the bat, like he was like So I'm sorry I was like gone all summer. Like I really want to like, contribute to the band more and start working on stuff. Like I know I kind of like, just like dropped the ball. And me and Jason were just like super quiet, and we're like didn't say anything at all. And we're just like kind of looking at each other like who's gonna say it. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Greg just looks at him and goes, "Yeah, man, that's cool. Sal's just singing the band now, so like you don't need to sing in this band anymore. But we bought this pizza, so like have some pizza." And like we're good.
Wow.
And he was just like, yeah, I mean, yeah, like it's cool. Like I understand. Like I wasn't here all summer, and you guys had to do something else. So he wasn't even like upset about it. But
I think he must have known. He must have known walking in. He's like, yeah, he probably knew you guys had played shows and stuff. Like he probably heard. That's really
probably.
funny.
And then for the next 10 years or so, it's like, I mean, even now, like the joke's always like, "Oh fuck, are you gonna bring in the Papacinos, or we could come up out?"
What, like it's like Godfather thing where you take them out? Like, well, looks like we're gonna have to buy him pizza.
I don't think any band I've ever been in has gone to Papacinos as a group ever again past that, because it was like that just killed it,
It's like the threat that you guys have for every band from now on. It's just like, dude, don't make me take you to Papacinos, man.
Yeah,
because
pretty much. Yeah.
Well,
I think that was really the first show.
You should threaten that in your relationships too. Like, honey, I will take you to Papacinos. Like right now, I am at my limit. I will buy you pizza. Don't make me buy you pizza. We're done.
Which, in any other context, I mean, like if you go there on a Wednesday between 4 and 7, it's like unlimited pizza and pasta. So it seems like a good deal.
Hey, I mean, free pizza is a good deal. If you're getting let down, like, free pizza is a great deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we figured. We were just like, he'll be cool with it, man. He's getting pizza. Like, who doesn't like pizza?
That is really, really funny. I mean, it makes sense. It's hilarious. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's... Well,
And I think, like, from there, like, like, that was, like, I think a couple months later, like, that's when we changed the band name to Dead Ellington, and we started just kind of taking it more seriously, because I was like, I think this is what I wanted to do. I mean, like I've always been a drummer first and foremost, and still now I consider myself like drums is the instrument I am best at. But when I started to learn how to write songs, I started just writing lyrics and stuff, I always felt like being behind the kit, I didn't have much control of like what I was putting out there, because it wasn't my words. It wasn't like the songs I was necessarily writing. And I started focusing on doing that more. Also, setting up drum kits every night is the worst. and in Dead Ellington, like I wasn't confident enough to play guitar and sing either, because I was just learning how to write songs. So then for the next 8 years or so that we did Dead Ellington, I was only the singer, and I just brought my mic. And that's what I did. I was like, I don't want to set up drums ever again.
You're like, this is the life.
Yeah, it really was. I was like, dude, I don't have to set up drum sets. I'll set up merch every night. I'm just gonna sing. And that's what I did in Ellington. Even like when I got better at guitar and writing songs more and more, like towards the end, I was like, okay, I feel a bit more confident now as a guitar player, but like still not enough to play in a band. And it really wasn't until after that band broke up where I was kind of contemplating not even doing another band. But I kind of looked at people like Frank Turner, like Lucero, or like Bruce Springsteen, who are like, you know what? These dudes write great songs, and they're not like this big, flashy, like amazing guitar player. And I think in my head, I always had it like, you have to be an amazing guitar player and know how to shred and solo to be in a band. And I was like, you know what? I there's plenty of people making a living being really bad at guitar and writing good songs. And that is honestly like what made me, like when we did Rebuilder, I was like, you know what? I'm going to play guitar and sing in this band and suck it up. And if it's going to suck, it might suck, but hopefully some people like it, because It sounds like there's plenty of people who are good songwriters who are not good guitar players.
That is true. It's very true. Honestly, I recently have been working on being a better guitarist myself because I'm tired of always like waiting on, like, actually, I mean, we have a great one now, but Tsunami Bomb has been traditionally like the guitar position, not minimizing anybody we've had in that position, but like we've had a lot of guitarists. They've just come and gone for whatever reason. Right. I don't know why. It's always been like that. So, like, as a bassist that writes a lot, like, I'm always waiting around for people to, like, step in and help me finish out songs. So, I started taking guitar lessons to go, okay, you know what, I'm just going to get better at guitar, and I can do it. Because I fell in love with bass, but, yeah. And I'm still, you know, I feel, it's funny because when you were describing your guitar skills at that point in time, I was like, dude, that's how I feel right now. Like, I'm terrible, but like I could probably, if you made me stand up there and play guitar, I could probably do it. Like I think of myself as a terrible guitarist, but
I still think I'm a terrible guitar player.
You're like, no, I still think I'm a terrible guitarist. But like,
I mean, Craig, our other guitar player, is like way better at guitar than me, but he also grew up playing drums. Our drummer in Rebuilder is the best guitar player we know by far. But he plays drums in this band, you know, and it's funny. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, you know, when we started this, like, Craig wanted to play guitar because he was sick of playing drums in bands too, and he was better than I am. He's better at doing lead stuff, so I was like, cool, this works because I'm never going to really try to step on his toes and try to, like, be a lead guitar player. I don't really want to, you know, or have the skill set to do so, and yeah, I mean, it's funny because Brandon on drums will always be like, why don't you guys do this instead because it's way better? And we just listen because we're like, yeah, you're right.
That's awesome. I feel you on the equipment, that, you know, a little bit more on that equipment tip. Like, I totally feel you about, like, setting up drums is something that just requires a lot of patience. And I can understand that once you got to the point where you're just bringing in a microphone, you're like, okay, this is way easier. I recently, like, for the last year, I haven't brought an amp to a show.
Awesome.
And nobody noticed for a while. Like, I was like, some of the members knew, and then some of them just didn't notice. But, like, I just brought, like, my bass and a pedal, and then I would borrow from another band on the show. Because, like, you know, some of the shows we flew to, and some of them we did this and did that, and I just didn't use my amp, and then I'd, like, help a band load in and I'd help them load out, and then I'd plug in my Sans amp and just do all this adjusting on the Sans amps to get it to sound like I wanted it to sound, right? And I wouldn't even mess with their settings. And then people would and I was so consistently getting my bass tone that I won't name which member, but they were like, wait, you haven't been bringing your amp? I was like, I haven't brought my amp in the last year. It's like, I just bring my bass. Everything I bring, it's in my bass.
That's so awesome.
Our tech thought it was the most hilarious thing for the longest time. He's like, you just don't bring an amp, and I was like, nah, man, it's cool. I don't.
That's so awesome. I mean, that was the other thing too. Is like, I started working for bands really young because, like, when I didn't have a band and I wanted to be a part of it, like, I started working for bands doing merch and doing drum tech. And then when I started getting paid to do drum tech, I was like, I never want to set up a drum set for free, ever.
That's so funny. That is so funny. No, I understand completely. I understand totally. It's funny, though, sometimes how things like that flip. Because and I also remember, like, talking to, do you remember the band The Horror Pops?
Yeah,
they were on Hellcat. Like, they haven't done anything in a while, which is too bad because they're a good band. I remember talking to somebody from Hellcat, and they were like, "You want to know what's the craziest thing about that band?" Because we were at a party and they were there, and I was like, "Yeah, what's that? What's that?" And they're like, "Okay, you know how she sings and plays stand-up bass?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he plays guitar, and I was like, "Right." He's like, "Well, you know, he's actually a stand-up bassist from the Necromaniacs."
Necromantics, I think.
Necromantics. Yeah, I was, like, saying it wrong. I don't know what the hell. Anyway, it's like the Necromantics. He's like one of the best stand-up bassists out there. And I was like, yeah, I know that. I've seen him. He's amazing. He's like, yeah. And in Horror Pops, he really wanted to play guitar. And he's okay, but he's such a good bassist. And I was like, that's crazy. And she goes, but here's the crazy part. She is one of the best guitarists I've ever seen. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah. And he goes, and in this band, she plays stand-up bass, which she's okay at. but and he's like,
yeah,
so
everyone in literally everyone in Rebuilder plays the instrument that's not their principal. Like, and even our keyboard player, Rick, who was with us for a while, he moved to Brooklyn, so he can't really play with us too much. His day job is a drum instructor. And he would give drum instruction. And on the first EP we did, since a lot of the members of Dead Ellington overlapped with Rebuilder, I didn't know if some of those dudes would want to like be in this new thing where I like played guitar. And like, I remember asking Rick, I was like, hey man, do you want to play like drums in this band? He's like, I don't want to play drums in a punk band anymore. Like, I'm kind of done with that. But I'll play on the record. And we're like, cool. So on the EP, like the first EP we ever did, he played drums and he played keyboard. And when we like booked a small weekend to Puza Fest in Montreal. And Brandon, like I knew played drums in some band a long time ago, but I mean, in the last like 8 years, he'd been playing guitar in Den Ellington. And I said to him, I was like, hey, Rick can't do this like small touring. He doesn't want to play drums in this band. Do you want to play drums for this like small thing? Because I think you're fully capable. And he was like, yeah, that'd be fun. And again, it was just like one of those things when we got home, I was like, do you want to do this show? Do you want to do this show? And he was like, yeah, like, you know, like I'll do it because like I like playing in a band. But he had no intention of being the drummer in this band. And then Rick saw that we were playing shows. He's like, hey, I know I told you I didn't want to be the drummer in the band, but like I've never been a keyboard player in a band. Like, can I be your keyboard player? I was like, yep. Show up and just do it. And so that's how we just kept playing, was everyone just playing the instrument that they didn't necessarily want to play in the band, but it was just available, and they were available too. We had stayed that way.
That is hilarious. That's awesome that it works out though so well. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a great story. That's awesome.
I'm sorry for being so long-winded.
No, not at all. This is great. This is your show. This is your stories. I want to hear, and we take it where it goes. That's how the whole show works.
Yeah. Totally.
Everybody's used to it. They know when they listen to the show. They know it could go. It just depends on the story.
Yeah.
So tell me about one of your favorite shows of all time.
So, I think it was probably one of our first tours that we ever had. We were trying to get a show in Richmond. Like every band that like is touring down to Florida, you want to get a show in Richmond. And we've consistently never had luck in Richmond, like even till this day. Like we just never really have that much luck there.
There's always towns like that. There's always towns like that. Everybody.
It's super weird. Like Nashville is one of those places too. Like you never really have much luck in Nashville. And like, I don't know, you just like, growing up, I heard about all like the great bands coming out of Richmond, like Avail and like even Smoker Fire moved down there from when they were a Boston band. They moved down there for a while, and Strike Anywhere. It was like, of course, it's going to be like, you know, you can throw a rock and hit a punk show down there. I thought, you know, and like it just like every single time we've always had trouble booking there. And on the way we were trying, it was like the one day we were trying to fill, and I did a Facebook post. I was like, hey, like we're not having much luck in Richmond. Can anybody help? And a friend of mine, this kid, Aaron, I work for Dropkick Murphys sometimes, helping out in merch. And I have been since like high school. And Aaron is this kid who like, whenever the Murphys do like a week of shows in Boston around March or around St. Patrick's Day, Aaron always comes up. He's big friends of the band and everyone. He saw my post and shared it and was like, hey, like my friend's looking for a show. Can anybody help? And he's in Virginia Beach. And
hey, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you said you did merch for Dropkick Murphys forever.
Yep.
Did you do it back when they were on Warped Tour about like 10 years ago? Like, were you doing it back then?
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, we've met before.
I feel like we might have. I feel like we might have because the tour I did on Warped Tour, Dropkick were on it, and they were sharing a bus with. They had 3 buses. They usually take 2, but they needed extra crew on this one, and they had the 3rd bus was only like half full, so they split it with Big D and the Kids Table.
Right.
And I end up doing merch for Big D and the Kids Table on that whole Warped Tour and doing some Murphy stuff. But yeah, I was there during that time.
I thought so.
We probably did meet.
Okay, I didn't know how, like, because I, like, you know, I mean, we haven't, full disclosure, we haven't met in person, but, like, I saw, you know, I looked at your pictures, and, like, I was like, yeah, he looks really familiar. I must know his other bands.
Yeah.
And I was, like, trying to think of, like, which band, you know, must have been one of your older bands or something, or somehow, because you look familiar, but it's like, that's how I know you, is from playing Warped Tour with Dropkick. Yeah. You're a part of that. All right. Sorry. Like when you said that, I was like, I'm like quietly listening to you and then going, wait a minute. That's how I know him. Like, I have told, we have met before. Okay. Yeah, that's hilarious. Absolutely. All right. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. Just
no, it's all good.
Realization.
So Aaron has been one of those dudes forever who's like been around Dropkick camp and family. He put the word out. I got a message from Facebook, like this guy I'd never met named Thomas McDonald, and he said, hey, I can give you a show in Virginia Beach. It's going to be at this burger bar. I don't know what we can do for money. We usually like just charge like a little bit at the door, or we get paid out by the bar. I think he like guaranteed us like $100 and was like, so if you want it, you can take it. It's not Richmond, it's Virginia Beach. Actually, I think that was Norfolk, but close enough. And we're like, yeah, totally, we'll do it. Thank you. And we got there, and we walk in. There's all these like families like eating and stuff, and we're like, we don't know how this is gonna go over. And Thomas is like, oh, don't worry, like, you know, around 10 o'clock, everyone clears out, and then we'll, you know, all the punks show up, and we'll have the show. And we had the show, and it was a decent show. Like it was probably the best show on the tour. Like people were really nice. People enjoyed us. No one knew who we were. We didn't really have much out in the world yet. And Thomas paid us like really, really well. And I was like, dude, thank you so much. Like, this is awesome. Like, we needed a show. And he's like, yep. Like, absolutely. I was like, if you're ever coming to Boston, let me know. So then the next time we were coming around, we did another Virginia. I hit him up again. I was like, yeah, can we do Virginia Beach? He's like, yeah, I'll put you at this place called The Hookup. It's right on the beach. It's a free show. You'll get paid up by the bar. And we got there, and the place was packed. And we played, and people knew the words to our songs. And we were like, this is super weird. Nobody knows the words to our songs. Not at home, not anywhere else. I forget the words to our songs. Everyone here knows the words to our songs. And we have gone back and played The Hookup in Virginia Beach probably about 4 or 5 times now. We skip Richmond altogether. We don't even try. And we always play this place, and it's always consistently extremely packed. It's a small bar that they just moved the pool table out of the way, and something happens when we play that room. Like, just there's a magic in the room of like friends and family and people who just like really, really care about this band. And as we grow and as we put more stuff out, they immediately gravitate to it. And every time we play there, it's pretty amazing. And you know, we've made a big friendship with Thomas McDonald and his band, The Record Collection, to the point that when I bought the old Dropkick stand because they were trading it in to get like a bigger like Sprinter van, and they needed a Sprinter because like they're doing, like Ken Casey's doing a lot of boxing promotion stuff around, and so like they're using it more to pick up people. And he was like, yeah, we don't need like this like band van that we have. We need something nice. So I bought it from them because they were just going to trade it into the dealership really cheap. So I bought the van because my van already had 240,000 miles and it was running fine. It's just an old van, and theirs only had like 100,000 miles. So I bought the old Dropkick van, and I could have probably got like around $2,000 for my van, but the Record Collections van had just broken down, and they like had a tour coming, and they couldn't do anything. And I just told Thomas, I was like, dude, if you fly down to Boston, this van's yours. Just take it, drive it back to Virginia Beach, and it's yours. You don't give me any money whatsoever. You guys have helped us so much, and like Virginia Beach is a place that like I would have never ever in my life thought that people would care about the band. But one of the reasons why anyone cares about the band there is because of you guys. So I gave them this van, you know, like
awesome.
Literally just gave them the van, and they were so appreciative of it. But I'm so appreciative of them for, you know, making us relevant somewhere, to the point that the last time we were there was when Pennywise did like a week of shows there, and they were putting locals on there, and they asked us to open because they almost consider us like a local band there. And we went down there and played, and it was crazy and awesome. And every single time we played Virginia Beach, it's a crazy awesome show. So I think
awesome.
You know, those are definitely our favorite shows.
Some places just, you're right though. Some places just have a magic to them, and it's weird that it's like that. But you come there and something special happens. But it is really an arresting moment when you look out and you're not expecting people to sing, and then they do, and you're just like, it's very humbling and amazing, that moment when you first hear everybody like all these people actually care about this song. That's just crazy.
Right.
Like it's awesome. It's an amazing moment.
And the crazy thing was that, so, you know, when we do a set list, we always usually end our sets with the song American Dread. It's the last song on Rock and Roll in America. And it's pretty epically sung. I mean, it was written in a way to be the end of the record. So naturally it goes in as the end of the set. And right in the middle of the set, we have like a block of songs that are all in the key of D. So we're just like, all right, let's just block these all together because they sound really nice transitioning between all of them.
Yeah, no.
And
yeah, some songs
I mean,
too.
Honest, the Rebuilder secret is just like, we write 90% of our songs in E. You know, it's just like, oh, this guitar's in E, and open chords are super nice. So like, yeah, you know, that's just how we write. But there's a song that's called the Grand Fromage, which is about a super shitty show that happened in New Jersey, and it actually happened with the record collection. But we usually typically stick that song like right in the middle. And when we got to that song, like one of the times we went back to Virginia Beach, everyone lost their shit. That we were just like, all right, note to self, coming back to Virginia Beach, end with this song. You know, because we just like had no idea that like people would just lose their shit over that song. And it's awesome to see. It's just like, it's crazy. I mean, those like the shows where like it's like I said, it's a small bar where they're just like benches and a makeshift PA, and that's like the only place where I ever like climb up to the top of these benches and just like jump off of it with my guitar and put my body in extreme danger because everyone's just having a great time, and it's awesome, you know. And I shouldn't be doing that at all, but for some reason there it just comes out, you know.
When I'm there, I just want to climb up on something and almost kill myself. That's how I feel.
Up, yeah. Just want to climb up and have a great time.
That's awesome. That's so cool to hear. I understand what you mean, though, man. Like it's like I said, those places that just ring out, like, and just are amazing, and they just always are. That's so rad. And
it's, you know, like we're going back there in our tour in August, and like apparently they've been having like a really hard time with punk shows even staying relevant or happening there. Like we're like, I guess we can't do shows at the Hookup anymore, and we're bringing a band with us from Boston, and we really wanted to show them how like awesome Virginia Beach is. So for like the first time, we're doing a room that's like a couple streets down, still on the beach, but like that capacity of that room is like 275, 300, and like we usually play this bar where there's no room cost, it's free, and it holds maybe 100 people. So they were like, this is the only option because we can't do hookup shows anymore unless you don't want to do the beach. And we're like, no, we have to do the beach. That's like where everyone knows us and likes us. So in August, I guess we'll see how it is, but it just kind of like, it's one of those things like, oh, you know, I guess we thought that this moment in time would kind of last forever, but it's not, you know. So.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, and they are just moments, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure it'll follow. I kind of am of the opinion that with bands, like, the way they engage people, there has to be like growth. You know, you have to be able to show like
Right.
things are happening in some way, shape, or form. Like people who follow a band along for a long time, if nothing changes, that will slow it down, even if they love the songs. You know, so it's like you do have to kind of evolve and grow and move to the next place up and expand it, because that's how they go, oh, stuff's happening. Like if people think something's not happening, I've noticed with over the years that people's attentions wander. But I'm sure it's going to go great. I'm sure it sounds like you guys have a real rapport with everybody. So that's awesome. I mean, well, rad. What a great story. Okay, so after that wonderful story of triumph and epic reactions, tell me about a show where everything kind of went wrong. It was kind of a disaster. It was one of the worst shows.
It's funny because there are so many, but the one that I will tell you about is the story of Le Grand Fromage, like that Jersey show. Because it does come up so we have a song that's called Le Grand Fromage, and it is about a really shitty show that we had in Jersey. And the chorus to that song is "Anything's Better Than New Jersey," and some people have gotten really offended by that, which is it's really and it's funny because some people have come up to us and been like, they're from Jersey and they're like, I love that song, I can't wait to get out of here, and I love this place too, but I just love that song, and I think really it's the song is more like, I feel anyone can relate that is from they just want to get out of wherever the hell they are. And that really is what that song is about. Unfortunately, we're on a Jersey label too, and we go back to Jersey all the time. But on this first tour in particular, someone was like, oh, you guys should go play Atlantic City if you're doing Philly, and because they're really close to each other, and there's a venue down there called the Grand Fromage. So I remember talking to this girl who booked that room, and I was like, hey, we're doing a small tour with this band, The Record Collection. Can we do a show at your venue? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. I think she just we confirmed everything, and as it got closer, I was like, can you make a Facebook event? Can we get all this info? Is there anything I need to know? And she was like, nope, everything's good. And a couple of days before, I saw that this show wasn't going to be amazing. And the first thing was, I saw her promote the show. There was another Boston band on it that's our friends that we had no idea that they were on it. And I hit them up. I was like, are you guys on this show? They're like, yeah. Are you? We're like, yeah. We're like, it's weird. Do you think they would throw some locals on it? And he's like, yeah. They're like, either way, did you see this thing about what they do at the door? And it was, she put a message and she was like, please, when you show up, tell the door who you're there to see. And which I know, hearing from another episode, you're totally not for that as well, which I definitely am not for as well. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. I fucking hate when that shows up. And I thought that she would have told me when I was like, is there anything I need to know? And she didn't tell me that at all. So I sent her a message. I was like, hey, if you want us to do this show, that can't happen. We're not about that at all. Please don't have that happening, because there's not going to be a lot of money probably go around anyway, but we rather just at the end, if we want to split it evenly or whatever, that's cool. Do not pull the door. And she was like, well, that's usually how we do things here.
It's just not fair. It's just not fair. There's no way.
It's not fair.
At this point for Tsunami Bomb, I don't have to worry about that kind of thing. We have a guarantee. Yeah. We have a guarantee, right. And we have a back end. So it's not from my. It's not. I don't deal with it. I have in the past. Right. But what my problem is just to for people who haven't heard me rant on this before, the problem is with this strategy is, though it seems fair, you think some people will look at it and be like, well, if you bring more people, you get more pay. If you don't bring enough people, you don't get paid. And it's like, okay, fine. Right. But like, not every band has a million friends at their high school that comes out to see them, or their college. Or not every band can like some bands are just starting out for that very first time. And it's like, I'm really against anything that does not build a local scene. Like, some of the problems that I think the music scene are suffering from right now are drawn from the fact of like certain strategies that everybody's using, and I'm not exactly sure where everyone developed these bad habits, but that's one of them. That's always lingered, but I think it's just a terrible plan, because there's some bands that'll never do it. And if you want to encourage a band, and like, so some great opener comes in and just blows everybody away. Like, they're just awesome. Now, granted, we've all seen millions of bands. Most of them are not awesome, amazing, brilliant, blowing you away. But when it does happen, like, you're going to give them like $2 because they didn't bring anybody? Like, what? Are you crazy? Like, the whole purpose... Yeah, the whole purpose of them playing
the candy drive thing. It's the candy drive. Like, when you're a kid, you have to go... Didn't you get like a box of candy when you were in like elementary school, and you had to go around selling like fucking candy bars for $1, and like you get to like, some of the profits goes to like, I don't know, whatever charity drive the elementary school is doing, but like, then you get to keep a bunch of it, you know? And I feel like that's the same way. It's like you're just trying to sell as many candy bars more than the other band. It's not a community thing at all, and it just kills the community altogether. And that's the biggest thing I hate from it too. Because I mean, especially, it's like, you know, on this show there was no huge headliner, you know, so it's like, why don't we all just work together and get as many people as we can into the room? Why are we going to make it like, oh, tell them you're there to see me, you know? Like, that sucks.
I just don't like it. It's just not cool, because the whole purpose of, like, yes, as a headliner, you want everybody who's playing on your show to contribute to the whole. You know what I mean? Like, you're hoping that your name brings in a bunch of people, and then every band brings in more, because they're going like, oh, I can't wait to see Tsunami Bomb, and Rebuilder's on there. I love Rebuilder. I'm going to totally go see Rebuilder, and I'm totally going to see Tsunami Bomb. This is my chance to see both these bands. It makes you want to go. So that's the ideal situation. But as you get earlier and earlier in the lineup, like, let's just face it, it's a newer, and it's most likely a newer band. And I'm just like, I kind of feel like, as a promoter and as a club owner, you're trying to create a scene built around your place. You want regulars who come in. You need, you know, if you really want to make money, you need local bands who can really pull it in. And I've just seen so many strategies since I've come back to play again after a long time of not playing a lot of shows. I'm finding that so many people do these things. Like, I don't like it when they post the times, because I've played a bunch. I think
the times is so stupid too.
It's just because everybody tells me the same thing. It's like, well, everybody asks, and it's like, yeah, well, screw everybody, because how are you going to get a headliner out of your local bands if they're not there to see them? And if you tell, like, because we played shows where, you know, Tsunami Bomb coming back, every time we play a new place, we don't know how well we're going to do, because we've been gone for 10 years. We have a new singer, you know. I mean, she's not as new now. She's been with us for a year, but like, we don't know how it's going to go. So we always are very cautious, and it's been alarming a couple times, because we've come out to venues and we're like hanging out, and I'm like, there is nobody here. Oh my God. Nobody cares. And I'm stressing out, because I'm watching all these opening bands and playing to like just a handful of people in this room, and I'm like, oh my God, why did I choose to do this band again? What am I thinking? Oh my God, like, nobody's showing up, nobody cares. And then right before we play, it's a sellout crowd, like super packed, and I was like, that's happened so many times, and I'm like, what is going on? So I'm actually, I've spoken to our booking agent. I was like, will you please tell people not to put the times? Like, I want them to see these bands. Like, there's no way these bands will ever get anywhere if nobody, like, they're all excited to play. Like, I remember what it's like. You play with a bigger band coming through and getting a good show, but it's like, if I'm playing in front of 5 people when I play it, it doesn't matter. You know, it's done nothing.
Especially being the first band, because I mean, Rebuilder gets into that right now, where like, you know, like we're asked a lot in Boston to open for like national headlining bands are coming to town. And whenever you're the first band, sometimes people don't know, like, oh, is the door time, like, are they going half an hour after or an hour after? Like, sometimes, like, the website has a different time than, like, what's on the ticket that's printed. There's all these, like, mistakes that can happen. And it's like, you know, it just sucks because, like, sometimes, like, yeah, you're, like, get there and, like, people show up, like, oh, I thought you were going on, like later, because like that's usually what they do. And it's just like, it's so stupid. It's like, just get there, like, if everyone could just like if they're at doors, like watch the other bands, it's awesome. Because like what's the worst going to happen? You see a band that you think sucks and you're just going to go grab another beer anyway. Like, who cares, you know?
Right. It's not that big a deal. You're supposed to be hanging out and having a good time. It's basically I mean, a show, I think a lot of people forget, we're throwing a party. Like, any show is a party. You're just throwing a party, and you have the entertainment, and you're hanging out with your friends, and you're having a really good time. In the end, that's all it is. It's just a party.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Absolutely.
Come to the party. And it's just like, when you put up the times, you're just, I don't know. I feel like any of this stuff is just not building up local bands that can support a scene when there is no international touring act. Anyway, sorry to diverge, but it's like, it is something that I kind of want to say for as many people who hear this show as possible, because I know that promoters and musicians and different people listen to it, and it's like, I really have to argue against these things just because it's not a long game. You're not playing a long game and like building up your scene. You're just making it a competitive, like, little situation, and you think it's fair. It's not, though. It's not building up anything, because there's no way an opening band, unless they bring out like their 20 family members or 50 family members or something ridiculous. It's just like, some bands are not going to be able to do that. And we've had bands on the show who are really big. Dog Party has a show, a worse show that they described, where they got like $2 and they killed it, and it was like, what? Everybody liked us.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was like one thing that was like right off the bat happening with that Jersey show. So it was like, they were going to do that, and I told her, I was like, please don't do that. Like, and she was like, all right, you know, we won't do it. And the day of the show, the other Boston band sent us a message saying, we're like, hey, we're not playing. Like, one of our dudes is sick, so we're just not going to make it. And we're like, all right, cool. And then I get a message from the promoter, and she goes, hey, there's another show happening in town that I want to go to, so I'm going to go to that show, so you won't see me at your show. So I was like, oh, great. The promoter isn't even going to come to our show because she wants to go to a different show. So,
no, that's a terrible sign.
So this is like, you know, we haven't even loaded in. This is like what we're dealing with. So we get there with the record collection. We load in our stuff. There's no one to talk to in terms of like, to give us any direction of like, where do we put things? Like, where can we set up merch? What time does everything start? There was nobody for any of that whatsoever. So you notice that the other band that shows up is playing first, and they're called the Sean Pete's Band from Richmond, Virginia. And we're like, why is there another Virginia band on from here? And we asked the record collection, we're like, do you guys know them? We're like, we have no idea what the fuck this band is. And eventually they like, you know, they put their stuff on stage and they start playing, and they're like super like collegey reggae funk band.
Oh yeah.
With like,
they've always been around.
Fedoras, like super little like trap drum kit, not like a real drum kit. And we're just like, why is this band opening? Like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, there's no locals on the show. It is this funk band, and I think it was the record collection, then us. And I'm just like, this show makes no sense whatsoever. This band that's playing right now is awful. And I think they played for like 45, which, like, dude, read the room. If there's nobody there, come on. You know, like, make it a short set. Let's get everyone out of here. Like, you know, I know, like, we have to play, but, like, you know, like, just do us all a favor. And they played for like 45. And as soon as they were done playing, the They just went right out the fucking door into their vehicle and took off. Like, they were just like, gone. And we were like, what fucking assholes. We had to watch their super shitty band. They couldn't even stay to watch our super shitty band. Like, that sucks. There's nobody here. And so, like, I was really, really annoyed that they left. And it was funny because they left flyers around with their tour on it. And it said, the Sean Peace Band. And underneath had all the cities that they were playing, with no venues and no dates whatsoever. So, like, if you wanted to see this band at all, who fucking knows? Like, it literally just said, like, Boston, New York, Atlantic City, no dates, no venues. And but it did have their Twitter handle and their, like, Instagram handle, and that was like it. So we're like, all right, fucking shitty band played, they're out. And then Record Collection played, and I think they were fine. I think we just, like, hung out, and we're like, obvious, there's just no one here, so let's just hang out with our friends. And then we go to play, and the room was really weird. Like, where you load in and load out is, like, directly into the room that you're playing, so that's super easy. But the stage is all these white, like, plexi boxes that are detached from each other. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make any sense. They should just let everyone play on the floor. But our drummer set up, and I think, like, we started playing, and Daniel, our bass player, was, like, jumping up and down. And I guess every time he was, like, jumping, all of these plexes were moving away. And our drummer was, like, losing his bass drum and losing everything. And so, like, he's playing, trying to keep it together, and he's getting pissed that, like, all the stuff's moving away. And Daniel's jumping up and down. And he just looks at Daniel, and he's like, stop jumping. And, like, Daniel was like, oh, okay. And I think at that exact moment, I noticed that, like, Daniel was out of tune. I don't know why I cared so much. I think I just was like, well, we're playing. We need to do a good job. And I looked over, and I was like, junior bass. And I think, like, between those two things and him being like, this show doesn't even fucking matter. There's nobody here, and I'm getting shit for, like, two of my members for, like, this stuff. And I think he was super drunk, too. Because, like, after we finished playing, like, it wasn't a great set. Like, we didn't even enjoy it. And, I mean, there's many times where we played ones where no one's there. We played and had a good time because we enjoy playing with each other genuinely. But this one, we, like, did not even enjoy playing with each other on stage. So as soon as we were finished, I think Daniel, like, went to the van and was just, like, had just had it. Like, he was, like, sad, and he was drunk, and he was just having an awful time, and was just, like, convinced that, like, this was it. Like, this was the last show, and, like, he was going to quit as soon as we got home and everything. And, you know, like, we left that show, and it was fine. Like, I think, like, the next morning he was fine. But when he came home, he wrote this song, and when we were, like, putting the demos together to write Rock and Roll in America, that was one of the songs that he wrote, which was about being at that show. And the line that he put in it was, anything's better than New Jersey. I'd give anything to go home. And I guess he wrote that when he was in the van after that show. And when he sent that over to, like, me and Craig as a demo, me and Craig reworked it and made it into a song of what it is. And some people think that's us coming out and saying, like, we fucking hate New Jersey. But honestly, the truth is, that show could have fucking happened anywhere. It just happened to happen. It just happened to be in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And he just, you know, he was having an awful time. But, I mean, it's one of those things, like, even though it was, like, a super, super shitty show, I still remember it like it was yesterday. And I think that's maybe why in Virginia Beach, when we play it, it had such a profound effect, because, like, I think we've told that story to everyone in Virginia Beach. Like, this happened with us and the Record Collection. Like, they were there to witness this that nobody else witnessed at all. And it's just kind of like, yeah, you just remember this super shitty time in New Jersey, and we just look back and laugh now, and, you know, remember it's in that song. And I think that that's why, like, when we go down there, everyone's singing along, because they just think it's, like, so cool. It's so funny to have a story to have in there, you know?
That is so awesome. I understand completely. Wow. All right. That's awesome, man.
even better. One more thing about that. I remember the next day looking at that Sean Peace Band Twitter account, and like they never really used it. And I think I tweeted at them. I was like, you guys peaced out right after your set. I was like, that's not very peaceful or something like that. And they just wrote back, you worry about what the fuck you do, I'll worry about what the fuck I do.
Oh, classy. Classy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would say that was probably one of the worst shows. But I mean, yeah, I wouldn't trade it in. It was, I had a good time.
Well, that's a pretty great story, man. You worry about what you're doing. Like, damn. Well, nice to see they were as classy as they came across. Like, it's always good to.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm definitely one who I like to ruffle the feathers too. Like I just thought it would be funny to like hit them up and just be like, that's not that peaceful. And I knew whatever I was like, I'm not gonna get anything back, or I'm gonna get something so fucking dickheadish back. But I was happy with the response.
That's awesome. That's really funny. No, and I mean, we've run into it too. Like, I had we had a story where we played a show in Austin the very first time we ever played Austin, Texas. And we had a really good slot with a bunch of locals. We were really excited about it. We were playing Emos. And it was a really great place. So we were very stoked. And then this band that's local, and they ended up doing some stuff. They were playing. They came up to me and they were like, hey, listen, is it okay if you guys play last? Because we have like a family thing happening that we need to get to. So it would be really great if we could play before you guys. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, we've never played here before. And they're like, no, it'll be fine. Everyone's really excited to have you here. And that's bullshit. Like, this is back in like 99 or 2000. Yeah. Nobody knows who we are. Yeah. Like, it was like really like one of our first tour. And I was like, no, what? Nobody will stay. And they're like, no, everyone's excited. Everyone's totally going to stay. You guys are like a national touring band. And I'm like, this is our first tour. Like, we're not even on a record label. What are you talking about?
It's also one of those things where, like, like Daniel, our bass player, books at this place in Harvard Square called Charlie's Kitchen. And they only do shows on Mondays. So it's actually pretty cool because, like, your Monday, every time you tour on a Monday, and when you play on a Monday, it always sucks. And it's like, this is the one place where, like, it's not going to suck. People come out because they know shows are happening there. But the number of times that this kid has to deal with bands, all of a sudden they want to do this crazy thing. Like, he's like, you had all this time. This has been booked for months. You couldn't have brought this up, like, before. Like, all of a sudden, day up, you want to switch lineups, and you need this, and you need this. It's like, yeah, say something before,
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And, like, for us, this show was like, oh my God, it was so packed. And I was really reluctant. I was like, come on, guys, like, we're going to play to nobody. And they're like, no, I promise. We'll tell people. We'll tell everyone what's happening. Yeah. It's just, we really have to go. It's a family function. And I'm like, fine. It sucks. Okay. And the show is packed. It is packed. So they get up. It's obviously like their crowd. Like, people are going nuts. They go off, and then the singer, she's like, says in the mic, she's like, all right, everybody, listen, as you all know, we're throwing a party at our house. You're all invited. We hope you all come out right after the show. We're just going to head over to so-and-so. Everybody, we're going to have a party. This has been a great night. Let's do this. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
what?
Nice. fucking god.
What did you just say? What did you just say? Oh, like, and I was freaking out. So they play the song, everybody goes crazy, and then it's a fucking ghost town.
Like, not only did you not tell people to stay, you actually told people to get the fuck out of here and go to this party.
To come to the show. And I'm like sitting there going like, what just happened? And like you could see a cloud shape of the crowd that existed. It was that fast. Everybody bailed. And one of their members was lingering. And I looked at him and I was like, you guys are assholes. And they're like, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll stay. And I was like, no, assholes. That
doesn't make anything better.
I'm like looking at him. It was literally like the opening bands watched us. And except for them. And
I never ever have any idea why bands think that would ever be okay. So.
I was so pissed. And like, so we played to nobody. The band was mad at me for even agreeing with it. They're like, why'd you say yes? And I was like, what the fuck? I don't know. So, so we played, and all the, bands that were there liked us and everything. It was cool. So, but we were just like so bummed because it was such a great crowd. It would have been such a good show. And then we went, so years pass, and we're on Warped Tour, and they were on Warped Tour, and they came up to us, and we had just played a show, and it went really great, and they come up, the singer and a couple of the members come up, and they're like, hey, you guys are great. And I'm like, oh, thanks a lot. They're like, we're really big fans of Tsunami Bomb. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, thank you so much. And they're like, yeah, like, is there, like, we should play a show, we'd love to open for you, or maybe like do a tour or something. And I'm like, oh, no, never. And they're like, what? Like, they were shocked because I was being really nice. And I was like, oh, never. We'll never play with you guys, ever. Never once. Yeah. And they're like, why? And I was like, well, do you remember playing this show at Emo's in Austin? And you guys swapped, you were supposed to headline, and you swapped places with a band that was coming through for the first time. And you told everyone you had a party after the show, and then you invited everyone to that party, so everybody left, and that band played to no one. But you had told them that you were playing a family function, or you had some sort of family function to go to, but really you just threw a party. And they're like looking at me, and suddenly I see in the eyes that like they're all confused, and the singer gets this like look in her face like, uh-oh, I remember this. And I was like, yeah, that was us. That was Tsunami Bomb. I was like, you guys seem really nice, and I'm not mad at you. Not anymore. Yeah. But I will never, ever, ever play a show with you. Okay? Wonderful talking to you. Have a great Warped Tour. I walked away, and they were all, and you could see about the same moment. They were like, and like one of them was like, that was you guys? And I was like, yeah, that was us. We will never play a show.
We're doing a Ramona show, I think, like the end of July with this band Pity Party from San Francisco. And, me and Daniel were looking for an opener, and we asked this band like from here, and we haven't played a show with them, but we have a lot of mutual friends, and we know that they're trying to get shows. And like I asked them if they could play, and they're like, yeah, and they were super excited for it. And then I get a message from them like a week ago that was like, hey, so I forgot that we said that we would play our like buddies like basement show that night, so we're gonna play your show, and then right after we play, we're just gonna leave and go play theirs. That's okay. I was like, that's not okay. You have to choose. And they were like, oh really? I was like, yeah. Like, why do you think we're throwing you on? So you can bring people to the show. We're not throwing you on just so that you can, because we just want to enjoy your musical presence being there. And they're like, let me check. And they eventually came back. They're like, yeah, we already promised that show, so we can't do yours. And we're like, yep, that's totally fine. I was just more upset that they asked if they thought it was totally okay to like play one, go do the other one, like in the same town, and just like, they're like, yeah, it's fine. No, that's not fine.
No, you can't split your crowd like that. Like, it's not work. That only works if you're like the visiting band, you draw a lot, and then you play like a secret show elsewhere too. Like you do another one or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah,
but like,
totally.
No. You don't break up a crowd like that. Come on.
How I was talking to my brother.
Oh, he's a great guy, man. Like, he's a really, really good guy. He told great stories. I really enjoyed meeting him. I got plugged into them through Tony Archer, who does Bomb Pot Records. And I've known Tony for... Yeah, and so he hooked me up with them, asking me to interview him, and I was like, yeah, sure. And I liked their music, and...
I'm almost through every episode. I think the last one I listened to was the one with that Bay Area band that makes the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Oh, Siren. Yeah. Okay, so you listened to Kevin McCracken.
That was the last one I listened to.
Oh, you got some good episodes coming.
They're great.
Yeah, that was a great conversation. He's a good one.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I just think it's really cool that even if I don't even know the band, that I can just hear, like I said, just streamline 3 stories that are just, like, awesome,
Well, that was my hope, is that the people would come for a particular band, because they'd be like, okay, I love this band, insert band here.
Yeah.
Actually, you got a lot of good episodes. I just scrolled by, like, checking to see, like, well, what episode? You're on episode 13.
Was it the Link 80 guy who talked about the Boston show?
No, that was the Boston show. That was Andy. That's the guitarist in Tsunami Bomb now, but at the time that wasn't. He runs a record label called Sell the Heart Records. So that was
that was him. That was it.
I think that was episode 10.
I texted Joe Gittleman and I was like, hey man, I was like, you should check out this episode. Like, they talk about your bass playing, and I told him about your show, and he was like, was that the worst one? I hope not. I was like, no, that was the best show. And he was like, oh, good.
That's awesome. That'd be hilarious. Andy will be glad to hear that. Yeah, because they were all super excited that he actually, like, wrote them back, and that was a big show for them at the time.
Yeah.
It's
I try to plug it where I can, for sure, man. It's really cool.
But yeah,
dude, can you get Josh Freed? You should get Josh Freed.
Oh, I could get Josh Freed. I know Josh. Yeah. No, I'd totally get Josh Freed.
I would love to hear an episode. Dude, I mean, like I said, like, the Vandals was the first punk band I ever saw. And they have, like, I mean, the reason I started playing drums, I was like, I want to play drums like that. And I got Live Fast Diarrhea, and I was like, this is a drummer's record. And I follow his Instagram, and I think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And just seeing him, like, post, like, playing with Sting and stuff like that, I'm sure he's got fucking amazing stories.
Skip amongst the telephone lines, catch a frequency to pass the time. Anything's better than New Jersey. Lay me along the turnpike.
You've been listening to Sal Ellington from the band Rebuilder. If you'd like to find out more about Rebuilder, visit their site at rockandrollamerica.com. And you know what, Sal? That's a really good suggestion. I will try to get Josh Freese on the show. Wish me luck. If you want to find out more about 3 Gigs, check out our website at 3gigspodcast.com. We have live footage of all of our guests, including Sal and Rebuilder, so just come by and check it out. You can also find us online on our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, just by searching 3 Gigs Podcast. Give us a follow and hit us up. Let us know what you think of the show and who you'd like to see on a future episode. Our theme music for this episode was Get Up from the album Sounds from the Massachusetts Turnpike by Rebuilder, out now on Panic State Records. And we are closing with Le Grand Fromage by Rebuilder as well, from the album Rock and Roll in America, out now from Refuse, Rethink, Rebuild Records. Thank you all so much for checking out this episode. I hope you enjoy the show, and I hope you check out more episodes. And for those of you who come back every week, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. So thank you. This has been 3 Gigs. My name is Dominic Davey, and I will see you next time.
Put your shoulder to the wheel. Every saw cut and every touch killed. We are forever invincible, as far as any of us can tell. Anything's better than you.
still there? Rad. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the show. I just wanted to let you all know that my band, Tsunami Bomb, has got some shows coming up. And if you'd like to come out and see us, come say hi and talk to me about 3 gigs and let me know what you think of the show. It would be fantastic to hear from you. So, on Saturday, February 17th, Tsunami Bomb will be returning to San Francisco for an all-ages show at the bottom of the hill with the Atom Age from Asia Man Records and Dirty Denim. Both bands are amazing. It's going to be an awesome show. Tickets are on sale now, but from what I understand, there aren't many left, so grab them while you can. In May, my band is going to be heading back to the East Coast, and we can't wait. We're so excited. On May 16th, we'll be returning to the Kung Fu Necktie in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. On May 17th, we'll be going to Boston, finally, and we'll be at Once Ballroom in Somerville, Massachusetts. We finished the whole run on May 19th at the El Cortez in Brooklyn, New York with our friends Trashy and Fat Heaven, and we can't wait. You can get tickets for all the shows at our website at tsunamibomb.net or at the respective clubs' websites. Come out to the shows and say hi. I really want to hear from you, and maybe you could tell me stories about your first, best, and worst shows of all time. And, hey, maybe you could stick around and see my band. Maybe. Anyway, thank you all so much. I hope to see you all there.